Hey guys, Super Rocker here,
And Luke Ambrose.
and today we're going to be giving y'all our own initial thoughts and predictions for Indigo Part Chapter 2. But before we get into that, we're going to go ahead and give our own initial thoughts about Indigo Part Chapter 1's version 1.1 update. So, I would start off, but since Ambrose is a guest here and such for this awesome video that we're making here as well too, right? I figure I'll let him go ahead and give his own initial thoughts about playing Indigo Part Chapter 1's version 1.1 update. So, Ambrose, I do have to ask, what are your initial thoughts about the update?
I think the initial update is great. I think it's definitely feels a lot more polished and a lot more better than compared to when it first released. I think a good example of this is look at the train station then look at it now. It looks so different, looks way better. It kind of feels more like an actual railroad type feel. And another comparison you could use is the gift shop. Look at it then, it looks so empty and nothing was there. But then you look at it now, there's a whole toy train set up, there's a whole bunch of new merch. It feels a lot more like a gift shop, you know?
It really does. I agree with you.
Yeah, and then especially later in the game, when you get into the Molly chase, they changed the play care a bit, whatever it's called. Especially in the chase scene too, there's a lot more vines growing and stuff, it's a lot more dirty. And that's what I like about it, because it's a rundown park and abandoned, so it would make more sense if it's all dirty and stuff and less clean like we've seen in the original.
Exactly.
And I also can't forget about the best addition to the game, the cat in the cafe.
Yes, sir. One thing I do have to ask, did you ever give the cat a name throughout your playthrough? Because I gave him a name.
I did not, but if I had to give it a name, I'd have to give the name Indigo.
Indigo, okay. I
Because we found it in Indigo Park, so I feel like it's the perfect name for it.
I think I can see where you come from with that, and it's a cool name. I like. It's not bad for me. When I first played the update for the first time as well too, right? Again, I'll get back to giving my own initial thoughts, opinion and stuff about the update, but focus on the cat for now, because the cat is back, man. The cat is back in the game, and that was just super exciting to see within this update. But when I saw the cat, obviously it gave me some sweet pats, little pets and everything as well too.
Yes,
but
yes.
I decided to name him Jinx because I like to do a callback, hide little Easter egg to FNAF Into the Pit. When Oswald pats his cat, his name is Jinx as well too. So I was like, you know what? I want to name him Jinx. I really like the name Jinx, and I think it'd be cool to give the cat in Indigo Park the name Jinx as well too. Just kind of give little connections as well too. Because again, Indigo Park has a ton of callbacks and references and connections and Easter eggs a bunch too. Especially wasn't there one Easter egg as well too that it connected back to a FNAF game as well too? I think it was a FNAF fan game.
Ooh, I don't remember what fan game. It could have been Joy Creation. I don't know, because I know the creator, Unique Geese, loves Joy Creation.
Yeah.
So it might have been Joy Creation, but I know 100% the reference of Poppy Playtime of Molly getting her head smacked upon that door.
Oh my god, yes, dude.
That there's no way that's not a Poppy Playtime reference.
There's no way it's not. I will say the slight difference, like I said, they did is that one got their head cut off, the other one got their torso literally just crushed in by the door as well too.
Yeah.
But
A little minor difference, but yeah, that's what differentiates the two.
just a slight difference, just a teeny
Just a
tiny.
slight difference.
But I will say what I did like with the hallway, since we're talking about it as well too, and again I promise I'm gonna give my thoughts about the game as well too, but also the thought what I like what they did about the hallway, what they changed up is they actually added the red lights. I thought that was such a super cool addition to that, with Molly just running down the hall, come to get you as well too, right? And you see her eyes glowing as well too. It just makes her so much more terrifying, but makes the chase sequence feel
it feels a lot more intense. It's you can see Molly slowly coming out the red lights. It looks terrifying. It adds
really
a lot
does.
to the atmosphere.
You'd be surprised how changing one thing like that makes such a huge difference for a scene like that, for a chase sequence and everything. And again, as you said, with the vines, I like how they added the vines as well too, right? I like how the playhouse, whatever you call it, right, was super dirty, and they changed up a bit more details here and there and stuff, the color palettes and everything. I really liked how they stepped up the attention to detail.
Yeah, they also even they got rid of the cubes and put a little dial thingy.
They did do that, and I want to ask you, what do you think of that?
I think that was honestly a better move, because from when I was little, when I went to kids' places, there would either be small cubes, or there would be little dials you can turn and stuff, make different combinations and stuff like them, just for funsies. And that kind of reminded me a bit of that.
And it kind of reminded me, and I agree with that. It definitely reminded me of that right there as well too, though. So I think definitely with the little fan tile things that you would turn just to get the right shape and everything, because definitely fits that whole thing where, okay, if I was a kid, right, and I was playing in Molly's, landing pad as well too, right? I would like stuff that I seen in real life. I would also see that within the game as well too if I was a kid as well. Whereas like I had to go into the into the playhouse, find the different color shapes, and then match the sequence of color shapes using those little fan pad things as well too, right? And then that way, once you get the correct sequence, it'll allow you to open the door and progress further within Molly's landing pad. Now that we are getting too off like track, right? I'll go ahead and get my initial thoughts and review of this, because it's like first we talk about the cat, then like Molly's landing pad, but it's like
there's just a lot to talk about.
There is
how much they added. But now it's time for you give your initial thoughts. What did you think about the new update?
First of all, I thought this update was great. Like the first thing I noticed, like they really stepped up with the graphics, right? When you load into the game as well too, like you could really see the moon shining, you could really see the the lights and the shadows really really bounce off each other. Like it was a lot more in depth as well too. Everything's a lot more polished. Again, they even changed up some of the designs for the plushies as well too, which again, the plush designs were great before, but like these newer designs, bro, like they just look incredible. Like again, I know that Lloyd, Finley, Molly, Rambly, the golden Rambly plush, and the poodle, it's like some like examples of those guys right there, right? Those guys got redesigns right there for their plushie forms, and they look way better than their previous counterparts as well too, right? What really surprised me a lot was the Rambly railroad section as well too, because again, that one, it was a cool design beforehand, but it felt like a little plain. But when I before I got into that, right, like when I saw like those different posters and everything as well too, I was like, oh my god, look at all these posters, more juicy lore for Indigo part. The lore.
They love the lore.
You love to see.
MattPat.
Yeah, hashtag MattPat right there. MattPat would just go honestly crazy. Like if he was retired, bro, he would literally be like analyzing every single small detail within those.
He probably still is.
Yeah, he probably still is. Like he's like, you know what, I'm not making videos, but like, that doesn't mean I still can't have fun theorizing.
Yeah, exactly.
So like, we'll go and actually like kind of focus and talk about like the posters a bit, and afterwards we'll kind of trench us back to the order, because I'm kind of giving my thoughts by like the order of like how I played the update right from beginning, middle, and ending as well too though. But like, so we'll cut to the posters as well too. So again, the first poster that we're gonna be talking about as well too is like the Rambly and the Lloyd poster as well too, right? The great sing-off right there, which again, basically it's like a little high spiel how like how although like everybody loves Rambly, right, Rambly's still getting overshadowed by Lloyd, because Lloyd is like the star, right? He's like he's actor extraordinaire, Lloyd,
yeah, exactly.
Lloyd.
and if you notice, Rambly's like looking at Lloyd with like a sense of like a little disgust, or I don't know what you can call it, like a huh kind of reaction, because I think he realizes here that Lloyd's getting all the spotlight right now, so he's like, huh?
Yeah, and what's also an interesting detail was too within like within this poster, like if you look at the audience, they're all wearing Rambly like ear hats as well too, right?
Oh yeah, they are. I did not notice that.
Yep.
Yeah.
So it's like while. Because at first Rambly's like, okay, y'all, Rambly the raccoon here, today I'm gonna be performing a great, like, singing show for you guys here, right? And he's doing great, and then all of a sudden, like, I imagine Lloyd, coming in the way, taking the spotlight, like, literally taking the spotlight from Rambly, because, like, Rambly's kind of a bit, shadow, a little darkened, but, like, Lloyd, right? Lloyd's got all the light, like, he's got the spotlight shining on him completely, and, like, everybody's now loving him. And, again, as you said, right, Rambly is in disgust. Rambly's in disgust as well, too. So, again, I don't think it's nothing too great. I mean, again, obviously it's always like a little tidbit how like another reason how like Rambly is like jealous or little angsty towards Lloyd. Pause. Future Super Rocker here. Just want to let you guys know that me and Ambrose actually missed out on a very obvious detail in this poster. Again, don't ask me how we missed it. We were just so busy just analyzing everything else within the poster that we somehow managed to miss the detail though. But I'm gonna discuss it and go over it with you guys anyway. The obvious detail that I wanted to go over with you guys is the cane that's about to pull Rambly off stage. As you can see here, as the poster does state, that it is a great sing-off between Rambly and Lloyd. And of course, as you can see here, Lloyd is winning the sing-off. And of course, he's taking all the spotlight and glory and everyone's cheering him on. Meanwhile, for Rambly, he's just absolutely disgusted and is being overshadowed, and the audience is not liking his performance so much. So, thus is the reason why we see the cane here from the poster, which is about to pull Rambly off the stage. So, there we go. Now that I went ahead and explained that little detail, back to the video. The next poster I did want to move on and talk about for us as well too, right, was the Soaring Winged Wonders. So, I think there's more little fun notch poster right here, how like, Molly, takes off in her plane from like the barn, right? And afterwards she, instead of like, crashing, she calls it barnstorming. Barnstorming, yo.
Barnstorming. Yeah, she surely is barnstorming. Look at that barn down there. I think she flew right because there's like pieces of the plane coming off, or either pieces from the barn. I think she probably skimmed the barn on the way up.
Yeah, she definitely skinned it like off right there for sure as well too. Because again, you can see like Molly.
There's a piece of wood in Rambly's head. Look at it.
Yeah, look at that. Oh my god, I didn't realize that. that. Rambly's like, oh my god, Molly, are you crazy? Molly's like, no, this is the best time of our lives. What you mean?
Yeah, if you also think about it too, this image here, like, it's the fact that I don't know if it has anything to do with it. The fact there could be a farm nearby the near the park, if so, because I don't know if that's just something to do with her character or not, or this is just showing a bit of the outside.
I think show a bit of an outside, maybe something to do with her character as well too, you know?
True, barnstorming. Maybe she's raised in a barn.
Yeah, who knows, man? Who knows? But time will tell, time to answer. But again, the detail, I will say, like, the detail is incredible, right? With like the crops and the cows and, you know, the house as well too. Like the detail and the coloration is just all so beautiful for this poster. So like I do want to say
Exactly.
that. And Soaring Winged Wonders, I think that's a great name for the poster right here. I think that's fantastic. So we'll go ahead and move on to our next poster as well too, right? And that is a Schmelly scheme right here. So as you see, we have Salem here and Rambly in this, but like what's interesting is that Salem is holding, you know, one of her potions, right? But it appears that the potion, when she does use it, gives off like a gas, like it's almost like a gaseous potion, like when she throws it down. And as you can see, we have, like I said, Rambly is using his own little red scarf to cover his mouth and nose, that way he doesn't breathe in this, like, you know, this gas right here that supposedly is the, you know, is what corrupted the other mascots. What everyone's been theorizing, talk about too, like, you know, this potion that Salem is using is what corrupted the other mascots within Indigo Park as well too, though. And we can see that Rambly is not trying to become corrupt like his friends as well too, though. But
exactly, or this could just be like the park story too kind of deal. Like this is because like Salem's from the park's perspective, Salem's the bad guy, Rambly's the good guy. So it's kind of like a 1v1 scenario right here. But like besides for like from a meeting point, this is probably by far my favorite poster out of all.
Yeah, same here. I just love this because like you can really take a lot. I mean, it's a cool looking poster, it's great design, but like you can really take a lot out as well too. And again, notice what too is like the tree as well, like a green tree and everything, because we never really got to see what Salem's full attraction, like, you know, in Rambly's Railroad, we never got to see what that fully looked like. But like, but maybe like this tree is like kind of a bit of like gives a bit of a taste as to what sort of like what sort of like kind of like a little bit of picture like what her attraction looked like as well too. Like maybe because like the way I see it's like gaseous in the tree and how it's very dark. I feel like it'd be more like of a dark forest type of thing.
Probably when we get to like, I don't know, maybe in chapter 2 or maybe even chapter 3 probably of Indigo Park. Maybe we'll probably find a section of the park that was all Salem's and it's going to be like a dark forest themed place, and maybe that's where we will encounter Salem.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with her 100%.
I think we should mention the Steamroat Serenade poster, because there is an obvious reference here.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Hey, Disney World.
Disney World.
Disney World. Mickey Mouse, is that you? I didn't know you're a raccoon now.
Yeah, I didn't know that you could transform into a different animal, bro. That's kind of crazy. From
like just show the two like comparisons of this Rambly image and the Mickey Mouse Steamboat one. You cannot tell me they don't look alike.
You cannot say anything. You cannot say that the resemblance is just uncanny, bro. Oh my goodness. But first of all, very cool poster. Rambly just looks super cute. So it's like first he sounds like he's Conductor Rambly, right, when in this railroad, but now it's like here he's like he's almost like Captain Rambly now. He's like, hey y'all, I'm Captain Rambly of this steamboat right here. And again, what's cool, we can see Isaac Indigo in there as well too, like, you know, the founder of Indigo Park as well. When I also like look at this well too, right, I also see like I said water, and usually like, and steamboats are often involved with water, right? And we know that, you know, at the end of chapter 1 we did see a little small, like, you know, portion of Finley, like his character as well too, him being water. So it got me thinking, right, what if like within chapter 2 not only are we going to see like Finley's like full character as well too, right, the full body of Finley, but what if there's like one part like maybe one part within Oceanic Odyssey where there's a steamboat ride section, and within it we'll like, you know, maybe have like, you know, fend off like, you know, Finley, right? Maybe Finley's trying to like bring the steamboat down, we got to fend him off in sort of cool way, I don't know, but also see him in the water as well. It just, you know, that's what I kind of think about when I thought about the steamboat Serenade right here.
Yeah, so kind of like a deal, like when we, so because us obviously next chapter we're going to be focusing on Finley a lot. It's probably like a thing where Finley has kind of like a free range of where he wants to go. Like if he wants to be in his exhibit, he can be in his exhibit. If he wants to be at the Steamboat Serenade, he can go be at the Steamboat Serenade. For all we know, honestly, the Steamboat Serenade might be the last ride of the chapter as like our Finley boss fight kind of deal, like we have at Molly. Like we could be driving the boat, trying to avoid obstacles, trying to get to wherever we've got to go next. And it's possible we could lose track where we go and then we end up in a dark forest. And you know who's in that dark forest?
Salem. And then we get maybe like a small like glimpse of like her character, like, you know, like maybe a small tidbit, and then afterwards it just closes off right there. And then
if you look in the background too of the Steamboat Serenade, it's a forest.
Oh my god. god, you're right, bro. Oh my god, yo, we're cooking. Yo,
We're cooking. We can connect this all later on, but we're cooking right now.
literally. Oh
Making
my
some
god.
connections. Hey, Unique Geese, hire up. No.
But hey, you know, if you see this video, Unique Geese, you could just take some ideas, inspiration, and again, you know.
Yeah, take some ideas.
Yeah,
Totally.
man.
We won't be able to predict it at all. Definitely won't be predicted.
Totally at all though.
But I think, do you want to mention the Ramley's Railroad, or do you want to mention the Lloyd's main stage poster?
I say let's move on to the Lloyd main stage. I kind of want to save like the Rambley's
The best for last
Yeah,
kind of deal?
yeah, you already read my mind.
Okay, yeah, I know what you mean. Okay.
I wanted to say the best for last. So okay, so when looking at this, like again, it's basically like just getting Lloyd being the star as well too, right, on his main stage and his perform. But again, I'm not sure there's like a very interesting detail or not though. But like you can see like the chairs and the seats and everything, they're empty, right? Meanwhile, for Rambley's, right, within that post for Rambley's, they were full of people. So it's like you kind of see how like those two kind of almost connect in the way where it's like when Lloyd performed on his main stage, there was nobody. So it's like he kind of went on ahead and took Rambley's kind of show and spotlight away, and he performed, gave us like, you know, his singing and his performance, and people, you know, his love. So it's almost like he kind of like took someone else's audience and like took their show in a way.
Yeah, and or it could also just be like he's practicing like a pre-warm-up before actually performing too. That could also be it too.
That could also be the case.
It is our theory that he was the main mascot before Rambley took over. Yep. Which actually, there's something I want to mention about that later. So I'll mention that later when we get to theorizing. But I think there's not really much going on with this poster. It's just that he's singing to an empty crowd.
Yeah, pretty much.
So I think next now we go on to what we've been waiting for.
Yep, the best for last. Indigo, Rambley's Rail right here. So as you can see here, we have Rambley and all of his friends riding in the train as well too. But also what's interesting too is that Salem is also part of this poster as well too, right? Because again, Salem is like, you know, predicted as like, you know, the villain, like the presumed antagonist, right, for Indigo Park as well. So you would think that because she's the antagonist, she wouldn't be, you know, part of this poster, right?
Hey, Super, I just noticed something. So
what'd you notice?
Look at Lloyd, Molly, and Rambley all looking at the camera, all excited. But then look at Finley looking up at Salem with a concerned face. I think Salem snuck on top of the train, not meant to be there.
Oh.
So that's why Finley has a concerned face.
Dang.
So she's sneaking onto the train. Okay, I see it.
I didn't. Wow. Look at you making that quick connection. Gosh, dang, you're right. Because like you see how like Rambley and Molly, they're smiling, they're having a great time, right? In Lloyd just being Lloyd, but Finley has a concerning face right there. She's like, or not she, not he. Sorry, Finley. Sorry, I know you're he, not a she. But Finley's like, huh? Like, what's that sound? Or like, you know, who's up there on top of the train, right? And then who does he see?
Salem the skunk.
Yep, Salem the skunk right there too. So again, Salem could just, you know, snuck up there again, being like, you know, form a little like, you know, sneaky villainish act right there. You know, it's like saying, oh, you guys want to invite me? I'll invite myself then onto the Rambley's train right here.
In a way, she's kind of like mocking them in a way. She's like in a surfer pose, like, aye aye, Captain, keep on going. Yep. Like getting a free ride on the back of the train. Like, I don't gotta pay for this.
Yeah, that's kind of right there when I want to talk about the post right there too, and Rambley's railroad as well too. But again, like, you know, the whole Western theme as well too. Like, I was so shocked by it, but I really loved it. It's like, it's so much better than what we got previously as well too. Though again, like, you know, how they put up different paintings, right? The Rambley statue again, while it's isn't like soup, like while it's like somewhat clean, you can tell it's very like, you know, dirty and like, you know, a bunch of marks and everything as well too. And I know that when I did play the railroad part, right, when they introduced different characters as well too, I think pretty much everything stayed pretty much the same, right? I don't think that really changed for that part. But however, though, what they did change up was the gift shop as well too. And if I'm not mistaken, right, not only was the gift shop given once again a Western theme, it's called, I believe, Steam and Steel Souvenirs Gift Shop, which I love that name. That name is super cool for like, and that name just fits really well for a Western themed gift shop right there as well too, though. But I will say, if there's anything you can get out of that gift shop, what would you want to get out of there?
Oh, what do I want to get out of there? Oh, there's a lot of stuff in there. I don't know, maybe one of Rambley's like conductor hats, or maybe even his like action figure, because I'm a big collector on figures. I have a lot of Funko Pops, so I think that'd make a fine addition to my collection.
I think I'll go with a figure too, because again, like I'm starting to get into the spiel of like collecting, like, you know, Funko Pops and, you know, U2's, you know, figurines and all that such, right? So I think definitely have some of that as part of my collection would be very awesome right there as well too. Moving on to the next part, right? Again, like when you enter the cafe shop, right? Obviously we get to, you know, see the cat, right? I think that's super cool. Like, brought the cat back. So I remember it used to be like somewhat of an like Easter egg. I don't know how people encountered that. Like, I don't know how people encountered that, you know, before chapter 1 got an update as well too. But I know that the cat was a Easter egg. He was placed somewhere else though. But I like how like they put him in the cafe shop right there, and you can actually, you know, interact with him and pet him. Like, it's just such a super cute cat right there.
Oh, this is a good time to mention. The animation is just fantastic with the redone and stuff. Like the animation on the cat and stuff. It's very detailed. detailed. It's not just like a one swipe. Like he's actually like petting him fully and stuff. I think the most noticeable change, honestly, is your interaction with Lloyd. Now, when he puts his claws up, he doesn't like grab you. He kind of just like stands up on two legs, and you put your arms up like you're scared instead of just looking at him like, huh, who are you? Like, compared us to like right next to each other, they look so much better, the new one. The critter cuff too, that animation, like, it gives a shock off now. It doesn't give like that sound, that ear-piercing sound. It's
yeah,
like little...
oh my god, that hurt my ears so badly, bro. But the fact that when you do put on the critter cuff, you put that on for the first time as well too, right? I like how it actually glows as well too, because when you put it on first time, it never did like a little glowing icon. And the way when you put your critter cuff on like the little critter cuff like verification, terminal things, right? I think it's really cool how they improved that animation as well too for the game as well. The animations for some of the characters, like they did change for like Lloyd and Molly as well too, which is incredible. For Jetstream Junction, that basically kind of stayed the same. When you do enter into Molly's landing pad as well too, huge change, right? I like how they add like more green, like some like leaves, like get more vegetation, right? They're changing up the color palettes, they changed the puzzle as well too, which again I think was awesome. And after when you solve the puzzle as well too, when you enter inside, do you remember how it would be just a straight narrow hallway, and there was like on the right side it was like a bit of a little slope hill, and you would have to activate the button? They completely changed that to where it's like now when you enter it, the stairs, like instead of the stairs being set vertically to the right, they're like in front of you horizontally, so you like climb up, there's a little bit of a platform, you go down, and then you would hit that little critter cuff verification like panel thing as well too, right? And then again, the chase sequence stayed the same. I think they slightly changed up some, like, they tweaked a few things for Molly's jump scare, right? I think it mainly stayed the same in my opinion, but like
I honestly didn't check out the jump scare, so I honestly don't know what changed with the jump scare or not.
Like, I think they might have made it where the eyes are a bit more like glowy, more circular, because especially when they updated the death screen as well too, because the death screen after you got killed by Molly, right, it used to be her just peeking around like the corners. When
now it's full art, right?
Yeah, now it's full on art where it's like her eyes like a circular glow, there's blood on her beak, dude, and it's like she's just looking absolutely terrifying, bro. And I was like, yo, this is scary. This is very scary. Like, I love the art. It's a huge step up compared to what we got. And it's like, just imagine sort of other death screens they'll be making as well too for the other characters, like one for Lloyd, right, one for Finley. I can't imagine the art that they're going to be coming up with. Again, like, Unique Geese and his team, they're just super talented. They're just incredible of how they can make such incredible art. And
they're a very talented team, especially for indie developers. They raised over $200,000 for
a lot of money.
2, and I'm glad to know some of that went very good into revamping Chapter 1, and I think this update really brings us high expectations for Chapter 2, which is great.
Oh yeah, it's great.
I think now it's time to start a little theorizing on what's gonna happen.
Yes, sir.
So in the beginning of the game, obviously the entrance chains too and stuff looks amazing, but a noticeable thing on the walls that these are these little symbols that represent letters and stuff that can be found in the entrance, one in Lloyd's theater, on top of Molly's wing, then one in the printer, then apparently there's this one that you can find like a picture of Molly somewhere at the end of the game near Finley's place, but I couldn't find it. So.
I couldn't find it. I never got that in my playthrough at all. Like, when I live streamed it, I was like, yo, the chat was telling me, saying like, Super, there's a freaking Molly picture on the anchor. I'm like, or on the wall. I'm like, what are you talking about? There's no picture.
Yeah, I didn't see anything either. I know I'm not blind, so at least I think. No, it turns out I have 520 vision. No. And the thing is, like, the unique part is Unique Geese, and no pun intended, sort of like an ARG hunt kind of thing, because with the terminal hunt, with the terminal that he added to the website, you gotta figure out, like, decipher, like, what these letters mean and stuff. The first thing we get, I believe, is Yum,
so the first code that we actually end up getting, like, you would get it from the front entrance when you first start the game. There's a bunch of, like, symbols as well, too. I have no idea how people got their hands on the guide as well, too, like, little translation guide, like, a little sheet of paper to take each symbol that was part of, like, the sequence code, right, and decipher each symbol into a letter and put the letters together to create a code sequence, which would actually, when you do go to the official Indigo Park website and click the terminal as well too, right, it'll pull up a letter pad as well too. When you type in the correct letters, awesome images, man. We're gonna be talking about these codes too, because again, I have like my little notepad right here, and Vince's notepad, I got my little like codes and all that stuff right here written down. So yeah,
if I am correct, the Yelm code just gives us our first image, which is Lloyd in a cage. Am I correct?
Yes, you are correct about that. So as you can see, we have Lloyd here in a cage as well too, and it's very sad. It's very sad, right? We even know, like, with the cartoon and everything stuff, right, how Lloyd's character is picked as someone who's like very like like, you know, full himself, right? Huge ego as well too, you know, being like the star of the show and everything as well, right? It's just very sad to kind of see Lloyd here in a cage as well too. And I also noticed within like the cage, there's also some blood. Like, I'm not sure if you can see that redness within there as well too. There's like a bit of blood.
Yeah, I do see that. Yeah.
It's pretty clear that, like, you know, Lloyd along with the other mascots were abused 100%. And this is actually the first time we actually seen one of the mascots in a cage. If you actually go to Rambly Rush while you're playing it, there's a bit of a ledge where if you fall down and you fall on a little platform, right, you continue onwards, you actually end up seeing Molly McCaw in a cage as well too. And the game glitches out and just like it resets you back to the beginning. I think what we saw right there and seeing this confirms to us that the mascots of Indigo Park were abused, and you know they weren't treated not very nicely as you can tell, right?
Nicely, no, yeah. It definitely can be disturbing to some. I feel like you kind of said it all, honestly. It's the animal's been abused, the blood's there, and he's being kept in a cage too. And it shows that the employees really do not care about their mascots, clearly. Because I believe at one point one of the employees mentioned that they're a little afraid of the mascots replacing them.
Yeah, because that's right. Because you said that before they had living mascots, they actually had people wear the costumes of the different mascots of Indigo Park, right? So they would have a costume for Rambly, they have a costume for Molly, a costume for Lloyd, a costume for Finley, and one for Salem as well too. Or it was doing good, but like, you know, I'm pretty sure whatever case was, I made like profits or other things, you know, Indigo Park wasn't probably making enough money due to these like, you know, costume mascots, right? So they figured if we create actual living, breathing mascots, right, then they're gonna make a lot more money and keep the park open and running, you know?
Yeah, so we can do a deeper dive on that when we get to another certain image we found later on.
So we're gonna go ahead and move on to the second code sequence as well too. And this code sequence can actually be found within Lloyd's backstage as well too. So you actually basically the beginning part where as soon as you about to start going back as well too, if you look to your left, there's actually a trash can, and that trash can actually has another code on it as well too. And when you actually transfer that code, you get Railry. So like it's like RILLRY. So when you actually do type in that, we end up, I believe we get the stage screenshot as well too, if I'm not mistaken. When looking at this, as you can see here, right, this is actually when I first see this, right, it's more of like a security footage.
Yeah, this definitely a camera. Honestly, you probably even go in the game and look for the camera itself somewhere.
Yeah,
at
and
this top.
Yeah, so I'm thinking like maybe like within chapter 2, we could like find another security room, and we could even see this as well too, right? We could see like maybe like, you know, a brief moment as soon as we left, right? Something, you know, dragged something which had a lot of blood as well too, right? And I'm thinking, what's the one character that, you know, had a lot of blood being spilled out after they got decapitated? Molly McCaw, exactly. So it goes to show you that someone or something has dragged the corpse of Molly McCaw from where she was all the way to back here in the backstage, or some sort of like area we have yet to see within Indigo Park as well too though. But you can also tell that this is also
just for anyone that's confused, because I know there's gonna be some people that think this was taken back in like the past time to show that maybe employees abuse. This is how badly the employees abuse the animals. But if you look at the curtain's teared, and when we went into Lloyd's Theater, the curtain was also teared. So this represents that this was 100% present time. This was probably way after we killed Molly. Not even we killed Molly. We didn't kill Molly. That was not our fault.
Yeah, that's not on us. That's not a certain little raccoon.
That's a little raccoon's fault. But we can discuss him a little later. That little fella.
Yeah, that little sucker. That little fella.
That little sucker. I guess he's a smelly scheme.
What you said with the curtain there was like on point, and you could tell like the fact that we see that tear in the curtain means this is taking place in present time. Because if we also look back, like I said, for the Lloyd, for the cage one as well too, right? We see that one's all in color. So what I'm thinking as well too is like the stuff that's in color could represent stuff in the past, and the stuff that we see here with the security footage can mean like it's taking place in the present time as well too.
And this could definitely lead us to support Molly McCaw being here. Well, if we take a look at our next image here.
Yep. So our next image, in order to get that pulled up, right, we have to find the secret code within Jetstream Junction. So when you do enter it, when you see the giant Molly McCaw statue, you actually take a right, and then you go up the stairs. There is the the airplane that's hanging, right, and on one of the wings of the airplane there is a code right there, and when you translate that code, right, it ends up spelling out MORAMOO. So Moramu right there.
Moramu, yeah.
Moo. So when we do actually end up typing the code Moramu within like the letter keypads or two right within the Indigo Park website, right, we actually end up getting this next screenshot right here called closed door right here too. So the first thing that we do see within this closed door screenshot is that a lot of blood. There's a lot of blood like that's being like trailed. Like it's almost like I said, it's almost like someone or something grabbed Molly's headless body and dragged it from the closed door all the way to the back of Lloyd's stage.
Something definitely dragged Molly here, but what could it be? I think that's a little question we can dig into when we analyze these images a little more. But
Yeah.
now there is one more image here. Now, if Super, you would like to explain this image here, or explain how we get it.
Yeah, so for this right here, one of my viewers actually ended up giving me this code as well too, right? The way the code spelled out, right, was leave ram. And this code is actually unaccessible. It's actually not in the game. One of my viewers named Moonlight. He added me on Discord, and he gave me the code. Again, shout out to Moonlight. So again, Moonlight, if you actually end up watching this video, thank you for providing me the guide, as well as helping me, figure out some of the codes as well too, right? Deciphering other things here and there. So that way, I can get my my hand on these screenshots and, make videos like this as well too. But
Bro's about to get 5K extra subs right now.
hey man, spread some kindness, spread some kindness.
Spread the kindness.
Exactly. When you type in leave ram, right, you actually end up getting a screenshot called beginnings. And man, oh man, there is so much to take out of this screenshot here. So much to take. So do you actually kind of want to lean off, kind of start us off with the screenshot, Ambrose?
I can say a lot about this screenshot, because if we look on the right side of this screenshot, there is a bird there, and that bird could be Molly Macaw. There is a chance that the mascots at the park are the reason why they're have all these organs and stuff is because they were mutated in a lab. And if you look at what we see here, we see a lab here. And that's the macaw on the side there is probably Molly. And probably when you click that red button, it's going to initiate the experiment, and it's going to turn this macaw into a life-size macaw. It's going to be big as a human or even bigger. And they're going to have human organs. They're going to have all this that is able to operate. So, and probably most of the employees at the park knew this, higher ups, or for all we know, everyone could have known this, and that's probably why they were even abused, because by the looks of it seems like none of the employees seem to question why this animal can bleed just like this. After all, it is a mascot, not an actual animal they're bringing in.
It does make you question that, really. Or not question, obviously, it would make you question. Obviously, if you were seeing those animals for the first time, these living mascots, these things are actually bleeding.
So, which also leads me to believe that somewhere in the park, for all we know, it could be underground, most likely underground, there's definitely a lab where all these experiments are going down. And we think every animal went through this. The macaw, the lion, the skunk, the raccoon, and the sea serpent. If every single one went through this experiment, that means each one has a life-size version of itself. That means there's a real-life rambling. And more proof to even back that up. If you listen to the old at the kiosk, when you click on one of the things, one of the employees talking about how they see the old raccoon costume.
Yep. It's the rambling mask. When they talk about the rambling mask, there's an old recording in there as well too. And they were saying talk about how man, I'm so sick and tired wearing these mascots outfits as well too, right? Or not cause they were rambling on about a lot of stuff. As Rambley say, they'd be rambling on a lot, They're saying, hey, heard about the new mascots, right? Saying, yeah, they're gonna take our jobs away as well too, what I'm saying? Because again, the staff
off topic, but it was a day shift at Freddy's. That's what it was. Not Joy of Creation.
It was day shift at Freddy's. I was
day shift at Freddy.
See, I knew. I was because I know Unique Geese does like the Joy of Creation, but I was I feel like it's something else. But I'm so glad you confirmed that it was day shift at Freddy's.
Anyways,
but again, I know that within the recording they talked about how the mascots are going to end up basically taking the staff's job away as well too, right? And I think because of that, I think that's one of the reasons why they were also abused as well too, right? They're going to be out of a job, and those feel saying, okay, well, until we end up getting fired or some of that, right? What?
I just noticed something with this image.
What'd you notice?
Look what the button's on top of. It's on top of a weigh thing. It's being weighed. Because if you look, there's numbers there, and look at the text there. It says egg.
Oh yeah, it does. Egg incubator. So it says an egg incubator.
That's not a button. That's an egg incubator.
Oh snap! You're right. Oh my god, bro. So it looks like
the realization here. This is not. I thought this was a button the whole time.
Nah.
This is an egg incubator.
It's an egg incubator. So it's so it looks like the egg weighs 37.223. I'm guessing, I don't know what the measure be, like kilograms or and also if you can tell too, there's also test tubes as well, and there's a giant white box. Maybe there's either stuff already inside of test tubes and maybe they inject it right into the this macaw when it does hatch, or maybe they take some of this its blood maybe take blood samples, take some of its DNA, and then afterwards alter it and put it back into the animal, and it'll cause the animal to mutate, becoming giant life size of the mascots they're supposed to become, right? So the real life version of Molly Macaw, right? Finley, Lloyd, Rambley, and Salem as well too. Also, I'm not sure if you noticed well too, right? At the bottom left corner of the screenshot, there's some writing down there. And it appears to
There,
be...
oh, there is writing down there,
Mhm.
and there's, by the looks of it, there's none on any of the other screenshots besides that one.
As a matter of fact, I've actually decoded it. I actually know what it says.
Oh, what does it say, Super?
So it says, so when we decode, so by using, because again, there's certain parts that are a little bit troublesome here and there though, because again, some of the letters that are, again, it's not all the letters have been fully deciphered within the translator guide, the little translation like sheet guide thing for these things, right? But of course, thanks to some help from my viewers, a bit of research as well here, right? I figured out that little code text down there ciphers to first to release, second made.
It's interesting to put that on an image where there is a macaw on the right side.
So it makes you wonder, like, was Molly like the first? Because it was Molly like the first released, and then afterwards, like someone else was like second to be made.
What I think we're seeing, I think we're being shown the second made. Another thing, do you want to mention the theory with the critter cuffs by chance of how they're becoming mutants?
So I think how these creatures become mutants, like with the critter cuffs. We mentioned that when we do get the critter cuff for the first time, right? Like Rambly mentions how it's an access pedometer, and that how it gathers a whole bunch of other data as well too. It's possible that the critter cuffs are gathering data, and this data gets sent back to the scientists down here, which I'm presuming is going to be underground, like going to be taking place under Indigo Park, right? It's possible that data gets sent back to these scientists, and whichever people fits the qualifications for the scientists' needs as well too, they end up getting secretly taken down here to this underground laboratory. And it's possible that maybe they get their blood or their DNA, like maybe they somehow get experimented with like the animals, like DNA or experiments or everything that's going down in order to create the mascots of Indigo Park, right? The living mascots of Indigo Park. It's possible that maybe it could be like a combination, like both not only animal experimentation and as well too, but also human experimentation. It's almost like possibly both like the animal and human DNA are kind of getting experimented and kind of like being used together to create these mutated living giant mascots within Indigo Park as well too. I could be completely wrong, but it's like that's what I kind of think of, like that's what I thought about with the critter cuff, especially with the lab here as well too. Like there's gotta be some sort of connection between the critter cuff gathering data and that data being sent back to this lab, and that data being used to create these living mascots that we see within Indigo Park. I had another fun little theory as well too, right? That makes things right. Seeing how this image is solely focused on Molly as well too, and see how it says first to release, second made. What if there's more than one Molly macaw? Like what if there were like
that is a possibility.
Like what if there were like different versions that they worked out to eventually they perfected the perfect Molly macaw mascot? There was there was first one that was be released, and then there's another one that was this is the second one that's being made right here. So it really makes you think like perhaps like maybe like the Molly macaw that we see in Indigo Park may not be the only Molly macaw.
I agree on that. It's definitely a high possibility, but I think by the way Unique Geese is going, I don't think that's going to be the likelihood.
I don't think it would, but again, it's just a little smart.
It's a little fun theory.
It's a little fun theory just to throw out there. Again,
now,
it's okay to be wrong about that stuff,
Yeah, no, so absolutely, that's why we're theorizing.
Exactly.
It's okay to be wrong.
Exactly.
We were wrong in some stuff, and there's, by the looks of what things are leading up to, it looks like your theory on Indigo Park could have been slightly wrong, and I only say slightly for a certain reason. Now, do you think this is a good time to reveal our big twist on who we think is actually the one collecting these corpses?
Yes, I've been waiting for this. So there's actually also another code as well too, but this code you can get from in the game as well too. To get your hands on this code, it's actually within a printer as well too, but in order to get to that printer and activate it, you need to open up a office as well, right? So in order to open the office and then afterwards getting the printer to activate, getting the code, right, you actually need to find little mini Rambly plush as well too, right? So obviously the first one will be on the couch when you enter into the security office, and then the other ones you have to find, like there's a bunch of them that are hidden, like there's like one hidden behind the wall near Oceanic Odyssey, one near the trash can as well too, one hidden in the grass as well. They're in a bunch of different spots, but there's actually a total of 5 of them as well too. And once you gather all 5, not only will the office be open as well too, right, but you'll actually be able to interact with the printer. And once you actually end up activating the printer is going to print out a picture of Rambly, and there is a code below it. And when you actually translate that code, it actually translates to Rambly. Now you may be thinking, what does Rambly have to do with this? Well, my whole theory and spiel of like about all this and the crazy twist for these previous images we've seen, like with the cage, the stage, the closed doors, and in the beginning and everything such, right, is that seeing how there are living versions of mascots, I believe that there is a living version of Rambly as well too, like a real organic living mascot, not the AI one, an actual living version of Rambly as well. I believe I'm not mistaken as well too, raccoons are also scavengers, are they
They
not?
are scavengers. Yes, they are.
So if we actually end up connecting the dots here, right? If we actually start off with the closed door, so if we actually put this in order, technically it would actually, so basically we actually start with the beginning actually, right? So it's pretty clear that like in the beginning, like, you know, all 5 organic mascots were made. We know that, you know, eventually at some point Salem will, you know, end up corrupting the other mascots as well too in Indigo Park, and then, you know, the horrific event will happen, and thus the whole park shuts down for 8 years. And then afterwards, you know, after that 8 years, we end up returning, and of course we end up finding AI Rambly find within the park's entrance. Of course, you know, he goes about explaining how like he was give us a tour of the place, right? You know, kind of like, you know, help with us here and there, and it ends up revealing the truth how like the mascots aren't themselves, the park has been shut down, the employees and people stop showing up. There's just a whole bunch of things going on, but he actually ends up asking for our help as well too. And of course we agree to end up helping him restore the park to its original state as well. But if we actually go back to the closed door, who's to say that after the Molly chase sequence happened right here, the Rambly mascot, right? The living Rambly mascot. So I'll say like, you know, I'll call like, you know, the good Rambly, like, you know, AI Rambly, and then for the sake of this video, so, you know, we'll have good Rambly and we'll have evil Rambly. So I'll just say evil Rambly right here, right? So evil Rambly ends up dragging the corpse, the headless corpse of Molly from the closed door all the way to the stage, right? And if you think about it, right, there is a lot of blood from the closed door and the stage as well too, because first originally I thought that, you know, it was, you know, Lloyd's blood when I first saw this image, but it makes a lot of sense how from it started right all the way back from the closed door all the way to the stage. It's pretty clear that whatever goes beyond that stage, right, is something that evil Rambly likes to call like his home as well too. Probably drags like all his food and, you know, his scavengers. But I want to know what's your thoughts on that overall there, Ambrose, of all there being like an actual living Rambly mascot.
I think this was destined, kind of, because you even made short of it being a possibility. I feel like it's been heavily implied, because even at the kiosk when you go and use the Rambleberry, he says, wait, maybe I'll be able to eat that someday. So I feel like this is being lightly implied each time, and now I feel like we even got even more evidence that this could be happening, that there is a real life mascot of Rambly. Everyone saying that AI Rambly's bad is actually a good Rambly, and the bad Rambly is actually the real life one. And for all we know, the reason why Rambly always keeps glitching out is because maybe the real life Rambly's trying to stop him from operating the park.
And I think that's a good possibility right there on as well too. And also a lot of people thought that, you know, that Salem was the bad guy, but what if, like, you know, again, like as you said, because you made a whole theory video talk about how Salem is actually the good guy in all this as well too, and that maybe instead the good Rambly and Salem are almost like misunderstood in a way as well too. Like we don't know the full story, because as they always say, you know, obviously there's 2 sides of the story, but there's actually 3 sides. So the way I see it is that, like, you know, there's a third factor being to play, where that third factor is messing with, you know, Rambly's perspective understanding of what's going down, what's happening in the park, and that third factor is also, you know, messing around with Salem and her perspective understanding what's going on in the park, and messing with her motives, and same thing for Rambly as well too. Maybe it's not all up to what it, you know, seems to be. What Salem was actually doing was actually, you know, to, you know, help save, you know, the mascots from being, you know, abused by the workers, and, you know, kind of stop the experimentations, but then like it kind of all went wrong.
I think we're kind of getting into a territory where we're kind of starting to slowly undiscover the plot in a way. I think there are 2 good guys going up against each other, with the actual main villain head in the background. Now, because as in defense of Salem's not the bad guy. It's real life Rambly.
Yeah, it's real life
Rambly. I
Rambly.
think it's being portrayed as AI Rambly going up against Salem, but which they are going up against each other, but they're both fighting the wrong person. They both got to be fighting the real life Rambly. But I also had this little theory. What if it wasn't the real life Rambly that dragged Molly? What if it was actually Salem that came back?
I can see that being a possibility, right?
Because skunks are also scavengers. These are both very intelligent creatures, a skunk and a raccoon. Very, very devious creatures. One has bad intentions, one has good intentions. The bad intention for Dragon Molly could be just, you know, for all we know, feasting off her, or maybe even trying to resurrect her to be on evil Rambly's side. Now, if Salem was the one that dragged her, kind of like save her life kind of deal, or give her a proper burial even.
Could be where, like, in the end, like, maybe all of them were really friends, you know, like, maybe, like, you know, her just being the villain and stuff, right, where it's like kind of an act, just for, like, to kind of, like, you know, just kind of do what, you know, the workers want them to do, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, there are 2 different stories here. There is the story in reality, and there is the story that the park gives us. For example, the story that is given to us in the arcade game is the story the park set up, because that's an arcade game the park made. And Salem is meant to be seen as the antagonist, while freaking Salem, not I can't speak. As Rambly is meant to be as the protagonist, the hero. So now I think it's time we connect these pieces. We put it all in one, so the viewers have a good understanding of where we lay at. So a straightforward, the straight end of what we think is going on right now.
So I guess I'll go. Let's start us off. We know that Indigo Park was a huge magical place, right, for all grown-ups and kids and everything such, right? And we know that that we had people, the staff, right, were these mascot cops as well too, right, of all like the characters of Indigo Park. Rambly, Finley, Molly, Salem, and Lloyd. And again, they were depicted as like the good guys, and Salem being the bad guy as well too, right, for the sake of the story as well too, right? But again, we know that eventually the park does end up shutting down due to a horrific event that happened. And we know that 8 years later, we as our protagonist Ed, right, which he actually, I believe he said also Ed is not the official name for a protagonist. Isn't that more of a nickname?
Yes, that's what Unique at least said in a live stream. He said Ed is not the official name, but Ed is a shortened version.
And I find that very interesting. So it's like maybe perhaps Ed has like a deeper connection to Indigo Park, like more than we realize. Eventually we return to the park, we end up meeting with Rambly. He kind of gives us a tour of the place as well too. Collect a ton of collectibles. We end up like slowly meeting like the cast, right? Like at least like the within the ride we get to meet the characters, right? So again, we're introduced to Rambly first, then next up it's Molly, then we get Finley, then destroy Exhibit of Salem, and lastly Lloyd. Go about acquiring the key from Lloyd's backstage, counter Lloyd, ends up running away, and that's when we had the Jetstream Junction, then go into Molly's landing pad, get the correct color sequence. Molly chase sequence happens. That's when Molly's head gets decapitated. Rambly goes about telling us the truth as to what's really going down, asks for our help, head to Ocean Honesty, then it closes down. Pretty much it's almost like with what's been happening, right, for us as our main character, like every sort of tidbit and thing that's been happening, right, it's almost like I believe like so we have like evil Rambly, living mascot Rambly, right, been watching us from the shadows, scavenging, yes, and ready to strike whenever the moment presents itself. In this case, after we defeated Molly, right, after again we didn't do anything, we know that good Rambly in self-defense to protect our protagonist shut the door, like time the door just right to to end Molly, right, to end her corruption and kind of give her peace, end her suffering and her being evil in this moment. It's pretty clear that after we agree to help Rambly and go down and become a rookie wrangler, evil Rambly comes out of the vent and takes Molly's headless body, right, drags it all the way back to Lloyd's stage, to some sort of area we have yet to see within Indigo Park. But again, within, I'm not sure, I don't think we'll see it in chapter 2. Maybe we might see it in, I would say, chapter 3. Like we're gonna see maybe where he's really hiding out as well too. I feel like they'll probably kind of like build it up and like kind of give us like little tidbits of like his character, like kind of like sort of like with Poppy Playtime. It was like with the prototype, right? It's almost like with the prototype's hand, like it starts, I swear that hand started small, like as the chapters progressed it got bigger and bigger, right, representing how big the threat is getting. Whatever this evil version of Rambly has planned, he's kind of starting small, but then he's working his way up to something bigger. Like the story and the plot and twist is going to be like insane, but like I'm gonna be so ready for that. As we take down these different characters, evil Rambly is going to be taking their bodies somewhere within, I would say, maybe even the underground part where like the cages or like whatever's going down, right, taking them somewhere. What I'm thinking as well too, like the story that's gonna be kind of focused on that, it's mainly gonna be focused on a lot of Oceanic Odyssey, different water attractions and games as well too, getting more lore of like all the characters. Maybe maybe we get introduced to Salem as well too. We might actually get to see her actual living mascot version, the live mascot version of Salem. Maybe kind of hear what she has to say about her side of the story, but not like too much as well too. And that maybe by the end of it, and as you said earlier with the poster too, right, we could be getting like a steamboat boss battle, right? And once that boss battle ends, we defeat Finley, we end up crashing to a dark forest, and maybe that's when we encounter Salem, and the chapter closes right there. So I think obviously the main focus chapter 2 is gonna be a lot on Oceanic Odyssey, Finley, Salem as well too. We'll get more history, backstory and history of like the characters, what also caused the park to shut down. Maybe some more like secret codes as well too along the way, revealing more screenshots and other things as well too. Like maybe this is something they don't do just for chapter 1. Maybe in chapter 2 we could get more.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Like
it's gonna definitely continue.
That's kind of like, but I think that's kind of like my whole take on like as what could sort of like go down. Like maybe like for this chapter it's gonna still be focused on Finley. Then we meet up with Salem. Then eventually a future chapter we take on Lloyd, and then at some point we're gonna see like the full reveal of the evil Rambly as well too. Maybe evil Rambly is not like the only evil factor causing chaos and destruction within Indigo Park. Something that's far more sinister. But what do you think is going to happen within Indigo Park chapter 2?
With what you said, honestly, I think we have kind of like the exact same picture here of what we think is going to happen here, especially with all the evidence that we already seen. It's definitely leading up to all that, because 100% next chapter going to focus on Finley, and we're going to be near water a lot, and we're going to be slowly stalked by Finley as we were stalked by Molly. You can also keep an eye out on chapter names too, because they probably going to reveal a lot. They might even connect in the future.
If you were to give chapter 2 a name, what would you give it?
Oh, that's a good question. Assuming Finley's gonna be it,
I would say Deep Trenches.
Deep Trenches, that's a good one.
For those who are watching this video, like let us know right now in the comments as well too.
What would the viewers name chapter 2.
Get creative. Get real creative. We would love to hear from
Get
you
real
guys.
creative. I clearly can't think of anything.
I kind of got something going, but I was like, I think there could be something.
I got something going. But also, I do want to point out, chapter 1 says birds of a feather. So keep in mind what you said with the incubator. The fact it says birds of a feather, a singular feather. So multiple birds, one feather.
So maybe there could be multiple mollies.
There could be multiple mollies, but I think there's not much to go in discussion for that one.
Because we don't have a lot of, like, because besides those screenshots, that's all we got, you know? We don't have any other evidence or other things to suggest that's the case, you know? For now, we simply work with what we got. Full proof evidence. And alrighty, guys, I think that's pretty much going to cover everything within this video here. Ambrose, I just want to say thank you so much for, you know, being part of this video, man. Like, I know, like, you're super busy.
Welcome.
You got other stuff going on. You have a channel, like, running as well, too. You're making fire, epic videos, man. Again, I've been watching your content. Like, you know, it's just overall just amazing. Like, it's always a pleasure.
Oh, guys, he's fanboying over me. Oh, I know. I'm so cool like that.
But, I was gonna say, was there anything else that, like, you wanted to say? Is there anything that you wanted?
Super.
Hey, I appreciate that.
He puts in the work and the effort into, especially all his videos, especially theory videos too. I would know because I worked on a lot of them with him. When I say a lot, I mean like 3 or maybe probably 3.
Well, I mean, hey man, teamwork makes the dream work.
Teamwork makes the dream work. And keep in mind, helping one another always can make a better result too. You can even ask our good friend Floops. He's also a big part of everything.
Yes,
he's like a really behind the scenes guy.
Yeah, he's a behind the scenes guy, but he still helps. He still helps.
He's like that. He's like that one shy kid in the back of class who like knows everything but doesn't want to say it. But when you go ask something, he'll be like, "Yeah, I got you, man. Don't worry."
I'm gonna help you out because that's what friends do, man.
Yeah, that's what friends do.
Also, guys, feel free to share your thoughts about, like, you know, everything that we talked about in this video. Do you guys agree? Do you guys disagree? What are your guys' thoughts about Indigo Part Chapter 1 version 1.1? What are your guys' own theories? And also share your own theories and predictions about Indigo Part Chapter 2 as well too. Again, I would love to hear what you guys have to say about, you know, all this as well too, right? Because again, I love interacting with you guys in the comments. I love getting back to you guys as soon as possible. Again, you know, please feel free to share your own thoughts and predictions about everything about what we talked about here in this video. Like, I would love to hear back from y'all. Another thing as well too, guys, is that I also linked Ambrose's channel within the description as well too. So you guys can check. Yep, that's him. So if you guys could go check out his YouTube channel, you know, drop him a sub, man. Show his channel some love, support. I would really appreciate it, y'all.
I would highly appreciate it too.
I would highly appreciate that. You're like, I didn't do this recording for about an hour for nothing, man. I want a little something out of this, man. I want a little something.
At least one person, one sub. I'll take it.
Just one. Come on, just one.
Just one.
One sub can make one huge difference.
No, all of you. That'd be a whole 15K.
Also, if you guys end up enjoying today's video, I really appreciate if you guys could leave a like down below. And if you guys are new to my YouTube channel as well too, I really appreciate if you guys can hit that subscribe button and turn on all notifications. That way you guys don't miss out on any of my streams and videos as well too. And also, my streaming schedule is Thursdays, Fridays, and Saturdays as well too. I start my streams between 8 through 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Again, if I start them earlier, I'll by all means start them earlier. But you know, if I do start late, of course, I'll be sure to give you guys a reason though, because again, I like to communicate with y'all. Again, like I said, if you guys enjoyed, you know, this whole video right here, hey, it's all the more reason to go ahead and subscribe and join the Super Rocker channel, y'all. With that said, thank you guys so much for watching. I've been Super Rocker.
And I've been Luke Ambrose.
And remember, the grind never stops. And we'll see you guys in the next one. Take it easy, y'all.